Hello everyone, welcome again in our online session of haloalkanes and haloarenes part 9. In this session, we are going to study about some more reactions of haloalkanes and haloarenes like reaction with metals, Grignard reagent, it is one of the important part, right? As well as Woods reaction and Woods fatigue reaction in this session we are going to study. So let's start. Chemical reactions with metals. See, whenever there is reaction of any organic compound with metals, right, they will generate metal carbon bonds, means the carbon will get bonded with metal, and such type of compounds are named as organometallic compounds, right, in which there is bond between carbon and metals they are generated, right. So most of these organic chlorides, bromides and iodides, they also react with some metals like sodium as well as with magnesium to give compounds like carbon metal bonds, and they are known as organometallic compounds, right. So we'll see some of the important reactions of haloalkanes and haloarenes with the metals, right. So one of the most important reagent, that is Grignard reagent. It is one of the product produced from alkyl halide by reaction with magnesium metal, right. We'll see this Grignard reagent. What is Grignard reagent? How it is prepared? See, Grignard reagent is nothing but it is alkyl magnesium halide (RMgX) is known as Grignard reagent. For the first time, it was discovered by Victor Grignard, right? One of the important class of organometallic compounds. They are named as alkyl magnesium. You can see alkyl magnesium halide. In short, it is RMgX. They are referred as Grignard reagents, right? It's known as Grignard reagent. And how it is produced? There is a simple reaction. You can take any alkyl halide. For example, here it is taken ethyl bromide. This ethyl bromide is reacted with magnesium. Magnesium ribbons or magnesium pieces of metal are dissolved or present in dry ether. Dry ether is one of the important non-polar organic solvent which is most required in this Grignard reagent, right? So in presence of this magnesium and dry ether, the bond between carbon and bromine would be displaced and this magnesium will bind with the carbon. You can see here the magnesium is binding between this carbon and bromine atom and produces our Grignard reagent, right. Here this compound is ethyl magnesium bromide, right. You can name it as ethyl magnesium bromide, right. So here the reaction produces a Grignard reagent, right. Here also you can see it is mentioned that magnesium pieces of metal are present in dry ether along with liquid haloalkane compound, right. They will produce Grignard reagent. So the bond over here you can see in this Grignard reagent RMgX, the bond is highly polar in nature, right. The carbon magnesium bond is covalent bond. You can see here this carbon and magnesium, they are bonded with polar covalent bond, right, while this magnesium and bromine, they are bonded with ionic bond, right. So here the bond between carbon magnesium is covalent but it is highly polar in nature, right. You can see it is polar because the carbon pulling electrons from electropositive magnesium, right. So the bond is polar over here, carbon is partially negative. You can see this R group or carbon where it is joined, it is partially negative while magnesium is partially positive, right. And this halogen is more electronegative, so it would be negatively charged, right. So here the bond is essentially ionic between Mg and bromine. So overall you can see it is a polar compound, right. So in this Grignard reagent our Alkyl group can be either any of the aliphatic alkyl carbon chain, where this halogen can be either chlorine, bromine, or iodine, right? Fluorine mostly it is not present, it is very much rarely present because of its more reactivity. So most of the time this halogen would be either chlorine, bromine, or iodine, right? R can be any organic functional group. It can be either alkyl group or it can be either aryl group, right? So for example, here it is mentioned methyl magnesium chloride, right? So CH3 magnesium and chloride, it is upon the Grignard reagent. Same way, another example is given phenyl magnesium bromide. At phenyl it is C6H5, the benzene ring. Phenyl magnesium and bromide, it is linked with central magnesium atom and bromine atom, right? So these are the some of the organo magnesium compounds, and they are popular reagents. Mostly they are used in organic synthesis, and even they are also helpful for creating new carbon-carbon bonds. So Grignard reagent is one of the important reagents used in organic reactions, and most of the time these Grignard reagents are highly reactive. They are extremely reactive in nature where they are in pure form. Either some of them, mostly they are solids, and some of them can be either in liquid form, right? And even they are difficult to handle because they are more reactive even with water vapor, moisture, and they might undergo explosive reaction. So normally they are handled or they are placed in some of the pure organic solvents like diethyl ether, or you can use tetrahydrofuran, that is THF, tetrahydrofuran. These are purely non-polar organic non-aqueous solvents, right? So relatively they are more stable, as well as the water is excluded, means they must not be in contact with water because they are more reactive, they undergo explosive reactions, so they must be placed in this type of non-polar organic solvents, right? And even when you are placing them in ether, it is stable because it forms coordinate bond with oxygen atom. You can see here this compound is diethyl ether, ET, that is ethyl oxygen and ethyl, it is diethyl ether. And here it is Grignard reagent RMgX. This magnesium positively charged will attract with oxygen, the lone pair of oxygen in ether, right? So it is connected with two oxygen of both the ether. Here also you can see there is another ether, diethyl ether over here, and this is diethyl ether, right? So this magnesium of the Grignard reagent forms coordination bonds, coordinate covalent bond. It forms a complex, right, with ether, so it is more stable in such type of organic solvents like diethyl ether, right? Here it is shown simple mechanism that how this alkyl halide react with metal like lithium or magnesium or zinc. In our Grignard reagent, we are using this magnesium metal. So already we know that this carbon halogen bond is polar in nature, right? So even you can increase the polarity between this carbon and halogen, and this any of the M metal will bind with this carbon, right? And it will produce organometallic linkage, right? And later on this negative halogen can also bind with this central metal, right? So in this manner it is producing our Grignard reagent. Some examples are mentioned here, like here it is chlorocyclohexane reacts with magnesium in dry ether, will produce cyclohexyl magnesium chloride, right? Here it is chlorocyclohexane compound. So Mg will bind between the chlorine and our alkyl group. So here alkyl is cyclohexyl, right? So this carbon will bind with magnesium on the central carbon, right? It will produce cyclohexyl magnesium chloride. Same way, here it is a vinyl bromide. You can see two carbons, bromoethene, or you can say vinyl bromide. This magnesium will bind with this central carbon and produces vinyl magnesium bromide, right? So either alkyl or either cycloalkyl or alkenyl bromides, chlorides or iodides, they can also produce our Grignard reagent. Same way aromatic compounds can also produce like bromobenzene, right? It can also produce Grignard reagent. This magnesium will bind with the carbon of aromatic ring. So you can see here phenyl magnesium bromide. This benzene ring is phenyl, magnesium and bromide is produced. Same way this isopropyl, you can see there are three carbons, 1, 2 and 3, and the central carbon is having branching with chlorine, so it is isopropyl chloride. It can also react with magnesium, so just we have to displace this bond between our R group and X halogen atom. So here the Mg will bind with our central carbon, produces isopropyl magnesium chloride, right? So similarly another such compounds can also displace this carbon halogen bond with magnesium, and so on. You can produce more and more Grignard reagents, right? It is more simple. You have to just shift the bond between this carbon and halogen. You have to just insert this magnesium atom in between this our R group or either aromatic group and halogen atom, right? Next, here it is shown nature of Grignard reagent. We know that already this bond is highly polar in nature. CH3, that is with carbon, magnesium and bromine, the bond is polar, right? So Grignard reagent slightly it acts as a weakly, you can say it is acting like a basic compound. You can see here it is shown methyl group CH3, central is magnesium, the blue colored sphere, and this is bromine atom, it is shown methyl magnesium bromide. So this part or carbon will work like strong basic compound, that is methyl, which is negatively charged. So as we know that base can easily accept H plus, right? So it can take out H plus from carbon hydrogen bonds. Say for example here we have taken alkyne, right? You can see R, C triple bond C and H. So this compound is having triple bond, it is alkyne. And even we know that alkynes are slightly acidic in nature, so alkynes can release this H plus, and even this R group or alkyl group is basic in nature, so they can remove the protons from these compounds, right? So that is one of the important nature of this Grignard reagent, or you can say property of Grignard reagent. So what happens when we are reacting Grignard reagent with some solvents like water, like H2O, alcohol, carboxylic acids, amines, right? These all which act as a proton donors for Bronsted acids. All these compounds like carboxylic acid, water, alcohol, ethanol, they are slightly acidic compounds. And our Grignard reagent will work like basic compound, just like we have seen right now. It acts as a stronger base in nature. So what happens? You can see here this compound is butyl magnesium bromide. You can see there are four carbons, first, second, third and fourth. Here also it is shown this first carbon, second carbon, third and fourth carbon, and here there is MgBr, magnesium bromide, butyl magnesium bromide. It is reacted with water. So now what will happen? The hydrogen of this water will be getting removed and the bond over here is broken down. The bond which is present between, here you can see the bond between this carbon and magnesium is broken down, it is breaking this carbon and magnesium bond, and this hydrogen will bind with this carbon atom with the CH2. Right, you can see here this hydrogen is bonded with the carbon atom, right? Means you can see CH2H. So overall this group is now CH3 functional group, means it is methyl group, CH2 and one more H, CH3, right? So this compound is our normal butane, N-butane, having 4 carbon, it is alkane, and this OH group means this oxygen and this hydrogen, this hydroxyl group which is present will bind with magnesium, MgBr part will produce HOMgBr, right? This is our byproduct. OH MgBr or HO MgBr is byproduct. So this hydrogen is binding with this carbon atom. You can see here it is bonded, right? The compound is simply alkane, right? You can say hydrocarbon is produced, and even this makes extremely important to keep that the reaction flask and the solvents must be completely dry off without water, because the hydrocarbons which are produced, right, they might undergo some explosive reaction, exothermic reactions, right? So you have to place these Grignard reagents in absence of water or purely in anhydrous solvents like diethyl ether, right? Here also it is mentioned that Grignard reagents are highly reactive with water, with any of the proton donors, means like acids, right? With carboxylic acids or water or alcohol, they will produce hydrocarbons. Just now we have seen it was producing butane, right, in previous example. So even with water, with alcohols, with amines, sufficiently with acidic compounds, they will convert them to hydrocarbons. Here it is shown RMgX reacts with water. Water will produce H plus and OH minus. So H plus of water binds with R group and produces RH, that is hydrocarbon part, and the OH minus of water will bind with MgX, will produce MgOHX. Just now we have seen that, we have mentioned previously in our previous slide over here. You can see magnesium when bromine binds with OH group, that is hydroxyl part of water, right? And this hydrogen binds with carbon atom, produces hydrocarbon, that is alkane. You can see here H plus binds with R group to produce alkane, and OH minus of water binds with magnesium to produce MgOHX as a byproduct, right? So as we know that it is necessary to avoid the even the traces of moisture from the Grignard reagent because it is highly reactive, right? And this could be considered as one of the method of preparation of hydrocarbons from halide compounds. Means first you can convert alkyl halides into Grignard reagent, and in next step you can react this Grignard reagent with water that will produce hydrocarbons, right? So this is one of the important method to prepare hydrocarbon. Next reaction is Wurtz reaction, and this also it is reaction with metal, right? You can see here Rx, that is alkyl halide, 2 moles of alkyl halides reacts with 2 moles of sodium, and what will happen here, this halogen will bind with sodium to produce sodium halide, right? And these 2 moles, 2 R groups, they will join together and they will produce RR, means the compound is alkane hydrocarbon, right? So alkyl halides means Rx, which is taken here, will react with sodium in presence of dry ether. Again, dry ether is solvent. The sodium is present in non-polar dry ether solvent to generate hydrocarbons, that is RR, which is alkane compound produced here. And one thing is important to notice that this R group is joining with another R group. So originally how many carbons are present would be double carbon in this hydrocarbon. So means to give hydrocarbons containing double the number of carbon present in original alkyl halide, right? Here suppose there are two carbons and this both R groups are joining together, so total will get four carbons containing alkane, right? This is named as Wurtz reaction. Here mechanism of Wurtz reaction is shown. You can see here these two R groups, this one of the alkyl group and another alkyl group of alkyl halide will bind together to produce alkane, that is RR. And the sodium will bind with these halogen atoms to produce sodium halide, right? So here what is happening, the sodium will donate electron, right? And this electron will get attracted towards this partially positive alkyl group, right? And even this halogen, as we know, it is highly electronegative. It will take away with one electron converted to X minus, and this alkyl group is converted to free radical, right? So two such free radicals would be produced. Both free radicals will join together to produce alkanes, right? And here the number of carbon atoms would be double than the original compound. The number of carbons will get doubled over here. Here some examples of Wurtz reaction are given. First is a simple reaction will produce alkane and sodium halide. Same way here we have taken 2 moles of chloromethane or methyl chloride CH3Cl methyl chloride in dry ether. The sodium will react with chlorines to produce NaCl, and these two methyl groups will combine together to produce ethane. So you can see 1 carbon in both alkyl halides and produces 2 carbon containing ethane. So we are getting double the carbon. Same way here also this sodium reacts with this compound is isopropyl chloride. You can see chlorine and this is isopropyl, and the bond will be broken from this carbon and halogen. So actually this central bond would be broken over here, right? And there are 2 moles, you can see. So both will combine together, this isopropyl and another isopropyl, you can see here in the center. From here both have got bonded together. So it is 2,3 dimethyl that compound is produced. So in such a manner you can easily remember this Wurtz reaction. You have to just break the bond between carbon and halogen, and same group you have to attach with that carbon atom. You can see the similar group is attached with the carbon. And here also it is shown if you are taking another alkyl halide, means here it is Rx and here it is R dash X, means if this R group is different, so you can get mixture of compounds like R dash and R dash are bonded together, or this R dash and this R is bonded together, or simply these two are bonded together. So you are getting mixture of three such derivatives, right? Three type of alkanes are produced. Same way here it is shown example, if you are taking this R dash as ethyl group, here this methyl group, so one product is doubling of the same R group, that is double of methyl group is ethane, and if you are doubling this ethyl group you are getting butane, right? And if you are reacting this methyl and this ethyl, it will produce propane, right? So similarly such type of derivatives can be produced in this Wurtz reaction. Next First is reaction of metals with haloarenes or haloarenes. They are reacted with metals. In that also there are two types. One is Wurtz fatigue. Right. Just now we have seen Wurtz reaction. Again, Wurtz fatigue is similar to Wurtz reaction. And second is fatigue reaction. These are for haloarene compounds. Reaction with metals for haloarenes, that is aromatic compounds. So in this Wurtz fatigue reaction, what is happening? One, we are taking aromatic haloarene compound like chlorobenzene, bromobenzene, and another we are taking RX, that is alkyl halide. So here what is happening? Both the halogens, this X atom will react with this sodium and it will produce NaX, right? And this R group, this alkyl group will bind with this carbon atom, right? So here the carbon and this R group both are bonded together and this compound is now alkyl benzene, right? So actually what is happening? The bond is broken over here, right? This benzene and R group or X group is broken. Same way this R and this X group is broken down, right? And this R binds with benzene ring and produces alkyl benzene, and this sodium reacts with the remaining part, that is sodium reacts with halogen X atom to produce NaX as a byproduct, right? So here you can see mixture of such alkyl halides and aryl halides gives alkyl arene, means this alkyl arene compound, alkyl benzene, when treated with sodium in dry ether, it's known as Wurtz fatigue reaction, right? Here it is showing the mechanism of reaction, how the reaction takes place. So initially this sodium with one electron extra, unpaired electron, will try to react with this halogen atom, right? And it will produce NaX, that is sodium halide, and there is one charge or radical on this aromatic ring. And in second reagent, that is Rx, again this sodium reacts with halogen to produce NaX, that is sodium halide. It is similar, you can see, and this R group is produced as free radical just like this benzene. Now this both will combine together, this R and this radical, you can see phenyl radical and this alkyl radical both will combine together to produce alkyl benzene, right? So this is mechanism of Wurtz fatigue. And similarly third is Fittig's reaction. Now what is the difference in Fittig's reaction and Wurtz fatigue? You can see in Fittig we are taking 2 moles of same compound, we are not taking Rx, we are not using alkyl halide. You can see here in this Wurtz fatigue, you can see there is one alkyl benzene, right, as well as haloalkane, both are reacted together, while in this simple Fittig's reaction you can see that only 2 moles of chlorobenzene or bromobenzene or any halobenzene are taken, will react with sodium in dry ether, and what will happen is we know that the sodium will bind with halogen to produce NaX, and both these 2 moles of benzene ring combine together and produces diphenyl, or also you can name it as biphenyl, phenyl benzene. The compound is produced. Same way if you are taking 2 moles of bromobenzene and 2 sodium in dry ether, 2 sodium reacts with bromine to give 2 NaBr, and both this benzene ring will join together to produce biphenyl or diphenyl. So this reaction is known as Fittig's reaction, means Fittig is purely for aromatic, right? While we have seen previously that Wurtz reaction, that Wurtz reaction, as we have seen, this Wurtz is specific for aliphatic, right? While this Wurtz fatigue is for both aromatic and aliphatic, both are taken together, right? While this fatigue reaction, fatigue is only for aromatic. So you can remember the difference between these three similar reactions, that is Woods fatigue and fatigue. You can remember that Woods is for aliphatic, fatigue is only for aromatic, while in Woods fatigue, aromatic as well as aliphatic both are reacting together, right? So these are some of the important reactions of haloalkanes and haloarenes with metals, right? So next we'll study some more important reactions of haloalkanes and haloarenes like nucleophilic reaction, electrophilic substitution reaction, right? That we'll study in our next online session, right? So thank you all of you for joining this online session. So thank you. Have a nice day all of you.